Hey everyone, and welcome to Dublin. Back in May, I got married to my trusty travel companion and this channel's associate creative director in her hometown of Aberdeen, Scotland. But before the big day, I took a short weekend trip by myself to Ireland to enjoy my last days as a free man. I had a great time exploring Dublin, but eventually it was time to head back to Scotland to tie the knot. Dublin Airport is located about 4 miles from Dublin and is the 12th busiest airport in Europe. It's a main hub for Ireland's flag carrier, Aer Lingus, and a large base for another airline headquartered in the country, Ryanair. It has an extensive short and medium haul network served by an array of carriers, and I made sure to get there extra early in order to do a little plane spotting. But if looking at planes isn't really your thing, Dublin Airport also offers an array of restaurants and shops to help pass the time. There's a great deal of flights between here and the United States, and Dublin Airport is one of only a handful of airports that offers US border pre-clearance services for passengers bound for the US. Meaning that you can get all the US border and custom checks out of the way here in Ireland rather than after you land. I've never been able to take advantage of this before, but it's my goal to one day try out this service to see if it's actually worthwhile. Once I finished exploring, I headed to the gate in time to catch a glimpse of the ATR 42-600 that would be taking me to Aberdeen today. I'll be flying with Loganair, which is a Scottish airline based in Glasgow. They have a really interesting network and fly to airports around Scotland and the rest of the UK, along with a few routes to Ireland, Norway, Denmark, and even the Isle of Man. You may have heard of Loganair before, as they operate the world's shortest flight between Westray and Papa Westray in Scotland. I have a short flight to Aberdeen today, but nothing compared to that one. The plane ended up landing about a half an hour late, but the ground staff was able to turn things around quickly, and we didn't have to wait long before it was our turn to board. Loganair has a fleet of 38 aircraft, 2 of which are ATR 42-600s. They acquired this plane in 2021, and I'll be sitting in the back in seat 14A. There's a total of 48 seats on board in a 2-2 configuration.
Shortly after the aircraft doors have been closed, I shall carry out a safety demonstration.
Each seat is 17 inches wide, and I thought the legroom was really good.
Recommend you keep your seatbelts on whenever you are seated.
There's a small storage pocket in front of you, and the tray table pulls down like this. There's a space for literature behind the tray table, but there wasn't any in-flight magazine on this flight, just a safety card. While the legroom was good, beware that some seats have this bar that goes right between your legs. So if you're traveling with a carry-on bag, you'll need to put it in the overhead bin.
Flight time today, 1 hour and 10 minutes.
But by far my favorite aspect of the seats are the Harris tweed headrest covers. Each one is unique and adds a dash of Scottish heritage to the cabin. Overall, I had a good first impression of Loganair, although they did forget to clean up this bottle of Coke on the seat next to me from the last flight. As I mentioned before, we were delayed by about a half an hour, but eventually the cabin doors were closed and we headed to the runway.
Procedures and equipment on board this ATR aircraft. We would ask that you remove any headsets and watch and listen carefully. Must be switched off, placed in hand baggage for taxi, takeoff and landing.
Loganair was founded in 1963 by Willie Logan and is the UK's largest regional airline. A potential sale was announced in 2022, but it was later suspended in October of 2023. There's no IFE system or Wi-Fi on board, so once we reached cruising altitude, I reclined my seat and settled in.
The cobble on the panel above your heads.
This aircraft is outfitted with only one lavatory and it's located in the rear. It was definitely a compact space, but the crew did a good job keeping it clean. I got back to my seat as the crew was starting the snack and drink service. I ordered some tea, but they also offered water or coffee. You also had a choice of shortbread or one of these caramel wafers for a snack. The service wasn't elaborate, but I thought it was a really nice touch, especially on a short hour-long flight like this. I also found the seats to be pretty comfortable too. I flew to Dublin from Aberdeen aboard an ATR 72 with Aer Lingus, and they didn't offer any refreshments, and the seats were pretty hard and didn't recline. So this flight with Loganair was a huge improvement. And it cost me about $60, which was just a bit more than what I paid for the Aer Lingus flight. I spent the rest of the flight relaxing, and before I knew it we were breaking through the clouds and landing in Aberdeen. Usually flying with a regional airline isn't that exciting, but Loganair's friendly crew, Harris Tweed headrest covers, stacked service of caramel wafers and shortbread, and of course their signature tartan tails help to set them apart and really make you feel like you're flying on Scotland's airline.
Welcome to Aberdeen Airport. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the captain has switched off the seatbelt sign.
An all too typical rainy Scottish afternoon greeted us upon arrival, but thankfully a few days later we were blessed with a beautiful sunny day for a wedding. And that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.